Now, can certain foods kill our immune system and in turn cause weight gain? You better believe it, and those foods may shock you. It's no secret immunity is this huge hot topic that's going around. Of course, it's 2021. I mean, what happened in 2020? So a lot of us are kind of wondering, hey, how can I make my body feel better? And I think that is super important because instead of kind of the big health organizations teaching that, they're telling us to stay away from one another. And really, it's important for us to take care of our own bodies. And you really want to get rid of these 4 foods. And in fact, I would dare to say the word food groups that I am talking about to keep you healthy into 2021, as well as keeping your waistline slim. Added sugars, including high fructose corn syrup. Now, I know I'm preaching to the choir if you're a subscriber to this page or if you're one of my patients in my clinic, but really there's more and more evidence that shows that added sugar is completely terrible for us. The first thing I teach so many of my patients is that don't listen to that person who's like, oh, 1 bite's not gonna kill you and it's gonna be okay. No, absolutely not. We want to cut added sugars out of our diet. Why is that? Foods high in added sugar increase the production of inflammatory proteins called C-reactive proteins. And I know those are big fancy words, but I guess the best way that we can say it is that, hey, added sugar does increase inflammation, which in turn causes our immune system to go, I know, wasn't really the nicest way to say it, but really, gang, whenever we have high blood sugar, so when our blood sugar increases in the body, it inhibits the response for 2 immune cells that protect us from infection. We know that when we have high blood sugar, we can have some really bad problems with our gut. And there's more and more evidence that shows, hey, I need to keep a healthy tummy. And nobody really wants to have tummy troubles right now. So what exactly can we do? I think most of us know that, let me not add sugar to my coffee and let me cut out adding sugar to these desserts. But there's so many hidden added sugars in our food, so it's important to look at that label. And we've been trained to look at this number and look at that number. And while there's nothing wrong with that, I want you to pay special close attention to that ingredient list because food companies are devastatingly smart and they put sugar in our food with these really fancy words like beet sugar and agave nectar. They use those really sexy terms that just drives me up a wall. We have cane juice, we have coconut sugar, just to name a few. Turbano sugar, which is sometimes I think that's the brown packets at Starbucks. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's really like, ooh, this sounds fancy, this looks fancy. Well, guess what? It's gonna destroy your immune system. So that fancy pants stuff, you may wanna leave it alone. Kind of like whenever you're trying to buy some pants that are a little bit outside your budget, it's the exact same thing. So added sugars, kick those out. Folks will say, what can we use? In my clinic, I really look at using a plant-based sweetener, something like your stevia. Make sure there's no sugar alcohols that are mixed with it that you can use. Beware though, a lot of times I tell folks when we cook with it, we don't need as much of it. So you may need to cut down the amount that you use by half. Next is omega-6 fats. Now, this is one of those debatable items because in keto, which we teach in our clinic and which I love, which has helped me lose my last 15 pounds of baby weight, which has pretty much cured my migraines. Yes, I did say cure, boo-boo. Hold me on that. Sorry, gang, sometimes I just have to crack some jokes in the middle of all of our scientific talk. But pretty much, one of the things that folks do wrong with keto, and we're gonna make a video about this down the road, is that we think all fats can fit, and that's really not true, and that's where omega-6 fats come in. These fats are definitely known to cause inflammation. In particular, there's been some studies in folks who are obese or overweight that showed that the higher intake of omega-6, the more they found a decrease in their immune function. So what are omega-6 fats and what are omega-3 fats? Well, omega-3 fats is what we switch to and using our clinic. Beautiful olive oils, beautiful avocado oils. Where omega-6 fats, I think one of the reasons we get really confused is because it's soybean oil, some of our corn oils, and where folks kind of get a little bit confused, I feel like it's because those do come from plants. And so many folks, oh, plant-based diet. And I just want to like sling my olive oil over at them because not all of those plant-based fats work in our body. Some of them cause inflammation. So what can you do? I live in a part of the country that really doesn't cook with soybean oil. I live in Louisiana. What you really need to do is check out that ingredient list, because this is one of the things that we do in our clinic when we do our inflammatory guidelines for my folks with lupus or my folks with RA. And what happens is we find that soybean oil is in a lot of our condiments. For example, mayonnaise, for example, salad dressings. Anything that's usually a topping will have soybean oil. I did a video earlier this year about the best salad dressings to have on keto, and I really talked about Primal Kitchen. I talked about salad dressings that were made with avocado oil. We talked about using olive oil. And some of those salad dressings, yes, I will be honest, are a little pricey. So what do I do? Because I am bougie on a Bayou budget, is I'll actually mix a little bit of my olive oil with that Primal Kitchen dressing to kind of cut down on the cost of it. You can also make your own. Look at your mayonnaise. There is, again, Primal Kitchen has a great one. I think there's Chosen Foods. There's a lot of brands that are soy free, and those are the ones you want to look for. And remember, gang, it is a little bit of an investment, but you're not going to use the whole bottle at one time. So that's kind of how I view it. Okay, again, I'm preaching to the choir with this one. Dun, 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 fried foods. All right. We know fried foods are not good for us, but let's talk about that immune function, shall we? Fried foods contain something called AGES. So it sounds like ages, and I don't even think they say it like that. I think they just say AGES. Now, this is a process that happens when you mix something sweet with something fried. So for example, one of the easiest things I can think of is if y'all have like state fairs or county fairs, well, they take the fried Twinkies and the fried Oreos, and they pretty much fry everything, and pretty much everything you see on Food Network. There goes my chances of getting a Food Network show. During that process of frying, the sugar reacts to the fat or to the protein that's in there. So again, even something like fried maple bacon, because we're like, oh, bacon's keto, but then we combine the maple syrup and then we fried it, AGE. So we have to be super careful about that. That's why we're big on the air fryer. Now, I did a video on how to fry foods in the air fryer because yes, I get it. One of the biggest things that I missed when I went keto and gluten-free is fried foods. Fried foods give us a great crunch. There are ways we can do it in the air fryer using specific ingredients that doesn't have that flour, so that we don't have to worry about that AGE developing. The final one is our kicker. And what I mean by kicker is this is the one that I'm usually going to get a lot of feedback about. Some of my own colleagues are going to get really angry at me, and that's okay, because I'm not here to be anybody's friend. I'm here to tell you the real deal. And I'm here to tell you the real deal because I care about you. I'm passionate about this job, and that is artificial sweeteners. Well, wait a minute, Shelly, didn't you just say earlier to use stevia? Well, yes, I did, because stevia is a plant-based sugar replacer. It is the real deal, whereas artificial sweeteners are made in a factory. That's absolutely no fun. And I can distinctively remember, I mean, quick story, really quick, because I love to tell stories. I think we all have the Aunt Ethel and the Grandma Bertha, who maybe in the 80s was diagnosed with diabetes, right? And she made us the sugar-free cookies, and every Christmas she'll make maybe a sugar-free cookie, and we take a bite of it, and it is just like, you just want to spit it out your mouth. It's so terrible. But again, they're used to that flavor because that was their first sweetener of choice. It's kind of like Tab, you know, Tang. My big culprit is saccharin, and that is the pink pack. Boo, I'm calling you out. Calling out the sweet and low. There's more and more studies that show problems with gut imbalance. And I keep saying that a lot. You notice that I keep saying, take care of your tummy, take care of your tummy, take care of your gut. Why is that? Like, some folks will be like, well, that just means I'll go to the bathroom. No. You know, stomach pain can really take you down, and that's absolutely no fun. When it comes to weight loss, because remember, this video was about weight gain. Most of us know that added sugars cause weight gain. You know, if we use too much of those omega-6 oils, fried foods. But what about artificial sweeteners? There is a little bit of evidence that says, hey, when I eat something that has an artificial sweetener in there, I'm going to crave more. I'm going to want more because it's meant to taste like the real thing. And so we have to be very careful with that. And that's one of the reasons I pull most of my folks off artificial well, I do pull all of my folks off artificial sweeteners. And when they have a bite of it down the road, maybe again, an Ethel made a cookie, they'll be like, wow, that tasted really weird. Makes sense. Artificial sweeteners is what can we do? When we talked about stevia earlier, there is some evidence that allulose, and I'm gonna be paying attention, really close attention to allulose in the next couple of months. I'm liking what I'm reading, so that's making me very happy. Those right now are my two kind of on the pedestal that I have right now for you. Let me know below which ones you think. And gang, thanks for watching. Also remember, you can scroll into the description box and you can download your own copy of our 7-day ketogenic and anti-inflammatory meal plan. My name is Shelly. Take care.